Strong Island Vibes, your boy, the one and only, the kid, El Nino in Spanish, the nonprofit sector connector, your boy Tommy D, coming at you from the studio, North Shore TV, excited for Long Island Changemakers. You know, a lot of what I do is really just made up. And one of my boys actually said, we were talking about somebody's last name, and he said to me, when I say my boys, my sons, I mean, and he was like, yeah, but Dad, like, all names are made up. And I was like, I sat back and had to think about that. But actually, in the beginning, we didn't have names. And then we did have names. So somewhere along the line, we made them up. But I made up this one. It's called Long Island Changemakers. And every single week on the show, I bring you another guest doing really cool work on Long Island. Sometimes my guests are professionals in the business space. Sometimes they're in the nonprofit sector. And this is one of those cases where my friend, Melissa D. Mohan, is here with me today. And, you know, we have a cool story. I think you have great stories. Well, there's one cool story that, like, you and I have become like our cute little inside joke. But I'm going to tell them about our inside joke. So we met through the New Ground golf outing, like probably 3 years in a row.
Yes,
okay?
At least.
All right, and each time when I see you at that golf outing, shout out to my buddy Rod Gannis, who always brings me as like his +1, which is always nice. I like, by the way, gang, I like being invited. I'm a great +1, so if you need somebody to play golf with you, go to dinner, go to a wedding even, I'm a good +1. But this is the stuff that goes on in here all the time. It's a tough world. So we meet at the golf outing, and every year we kind of make this thing where we say we should get together and like jump on a Zoom call. And what has happened historically is, you could tell everybody.
What has happened historically is we say, let's get together, let's meet.
Yeah.
And then we meet at the next golf outing.
A year later.
And say, oh, shoot.
Yeah, we didn't do that.
Hi, good to see you. We got to meet.
Yeah.
But this year,
what did we do? We broke
We became the change.
Yes.
This year.
We're like Long Island Changemakers.
Yes. I wonder how that happened. So this year
we should host a show together. This is fun.
We became the change this year, and we actually got together, and we are starting to do really great things. We are doing great things, because look, we jumped on the Zoom call, first meeting, right? Then you came to an event that my buddy Peter Janowski and I did just down the street over here, you know, at the JCC, Sid Jacobson JCC. You brought a colleague of yours that we got to meet with that night. So, and now we're here. Now you're on Long Island Changemakers. And the thing that stands out for me is, so we're going to talk about your background and your bio and the important work you're doing. But why don't we talk, before we get into real estate and law, I want to know, how did you get connected to New Ground, Shannon Boyle's organization, which is where we first connected? So I got connected to New Ground via networking. I went to a networking meeting. Diane Serenita, the Director of Development and Events, happened to be there. She's now become a very good friend of mine, but at that point, she was just someone sitting at a table talking about this New Ground Gala that they have. That was at the Garden City Hotel, how it was their anchor event of the year, and something that they were looking for volunteers for. Fast forward, I think it's now like 6 or 7 years. I am now co-chair of that event.
Yes, that's awesome.
I've been working extensively with New Ground.
Great organization.
Fantastic organization.
This is about you today, but I want to shout them out. What is tell us about the organization, New Ground.
So New Ground is a not-for-profit. Their headquarters is located in Levittown. They help to prevent the cycle of homelessness through social work and education for our Long Island families, our veterans, and our domestic violence survivors. Yeah,
what an important organization. Shannon is such good people. I've done some work with her. She's been on a bunch of my different stuff, different shows and whatnot. Love Shannon Boyle. I got to tell you a quick story. So a bunch of years ago, Shannon, when she sees this, will remember that it was a gala, probably about 10 years ago. And she's basically like the MC of the event as the executive director. She lost her voice.
Oh, no.
Yeah, she had laryngitis. And I'm acting it out. Like, people don't know what laryngitis is, so I'm pretending like I lost my voice. People wish I would lose my voice, to be honest with you, but it doesn't happen. But that was just a funny thing so I love Shannon, love the organization, do such great work. So that was something you met through networking. You met Diana, right, through networking.
Yeah, Diane Serenita, I met them pretty early on in my entrepreneurial. It was probably within the first 6 to 7 months. And as a young, new entrepreneur, you're struggling to find your way, to find your people. I remember going to that gala and just feeling at home.
Yeah,
I felt like It was the people that was there. It was the mission. It was just that feeling. You know, you walk into a room and there's just a vibe, a feeling,
no doubt. Yep.
and it had the right vibe, the right feeling. I felt like I was at home.
Oh, that's awesome.
And New Ground is all about preventing the cycle of homelessness and finding people their forever homes. And I just felt like I was home there. And I think it was really at that point that things started to come together, and all of the independent pieces of all the things that I was working for once New Ground was kind of like that missing puzzle piece.
Isn't that wild?
And it came together, and I started on this trajectory, which I'm still on, and it kind of laid the groundwork. So
it's interesting how things happen. Like if you're not in that room, if you're not sitting at that table, I always think about like the ripple effect. So I want to go. There's so much I want to ask you, but let's start with, you know, your legal background. Like you're an attorney.
Yes, I'm an attorney.
Why are you an attorney?
So I come from a family of immigrants. My parents came over from Guyana in South America in the late 70s, early 80s. And of course, as a child of immigrants, like especially being the first, I was the first of the first. So I was the first one to do it all. So I really had two choices, med school or law school. And I can't see any bodily fluids, they make me pass out. So med school was not going to be it for me. So it was law school, but I always had, growing up, that advocate in me, where I was always looking to help people do something, speak up for others, and that's how I made my way through undergrad, and then eventually into law school. I graduated from Fordham Law right here in Manhattan.
Got it.
And of course, I'm part of that generation that had 9/11 and the 2008 crash. So I graduated in 2009, right in the middle of that lovely crash when you couldn't get a job if you tried really hard.
Yeah, what did you want to do with law? Like when you came out, did you think it would be like social justice type stuff? Like,
so I actually, when I was in law school, I did a clinic helping Guantanamo Bay detainees who may have been there, you know, illegally,
like maybe they shouldn't have been there.
They shouldn't have been there to try and come out or just have their rights be looked at. So social justice was always something that, you know, I had on my radar. But of course, coming out in the crash, there is absolutely no jobs. So I ended up getting a job doing labor and employment law. Fast forward, I met people, and then I transitioned actually to the bank side of creditors' rights, mortgage foreclosures.
So creditors' rights, which means you're on the bank side? I
was on the bank side. So I was bringing those foreclosures on behalf of the banks, on behalf of the lenders.
I mean, at first, I want to be like cranky about that, but guess what? Like, people signed agreements to, are we talking about like 9, 10, like where maybe there was like some unscrupulous lending going on? Because I want to say people signed the mortgage.
There was a little bit of that.
Yeah.
I got into the industry in like 2011, 2012. So the end of that was kind of, that was the time of the adjustable rate mortgages and maybe some of the predatory lending. There was a time and place for that. I kind of came in on the tail end of that. But I was coming into people borrowing in 12, maybe like April, and then defaulting in September. And things like that.
So I kind of like, I'm not mad at the bank, and I'm not mad at your role, right? Like, because like it sounds like people, and it was after that era. If these are the loans that originated in 5, 6, 7 or something like that, that's a different story, maybe. And especially you would think people are more aware because of what had just happened, right? So that was how that's the law career that I came up to. I ended up being the managing attorney of a law practice, and it's funny how things happened. I had a car accident. I was rear-ended by a truck. I ended up being more or less okay, but I had a concussion. And having the job that I had, I couldn't have a concussion, rest my brain, and work. So I had to take time off. And this was the first time I had taken time off. I think it was like either 6 or 8 weeks, I can't remember, in my entire life. Like since you were a kid, right?
Like I never stopped. I had to stop. And it was during that time that I actually got to go outside and smell the roses. I saw that life existed other ways, and I had time to reflect, and I had one of those what am I doing moments.
Yeah.
And
meaning, like, is this really what's fulfilling me? Like,
correct,
yeah.
because I got to spend time with my nephews.
Yeah.
I got to have lunch with my friends.
Yeah. Things that didn't exist
Things
before.
that didn't exist because I was working, coming home, sleeping, working, coming home, sleeping. Sometimes falling asleep before I could even eat dinner, things like that.
Yeah.
So I really took some time to stop and think about all those things that made me happy. Growing up, I went to Jesuit universities. I went to Boston College and Fordham, and they have, there's a lot of volunteer opportunities, a lot of ways to give back.
I remember us talking about this recently.
Yeah,
that
and I
whole
wasn't
Jesuit commitment to
wasn't
community.
able to do that because I was working so many hours. Yes, there's only 24 hours in a day,
Right.
but sometimes you're tired too.
Yeah.
So I took all of that, and that's how and I also had a very good girlfriend who, you always need that little push.
Yeah.
She gave me the push.
In what way? In what direction?
To say, you're not happy, I know who you are, and yes, you're a great lawyer, but you're not happy.
Yeah.
You're doing really well, you're doing really great work,
Yeah.
but I know you can do and be more. So she gave me that push, she helped me, and lo and behold, I opened up the law practice that I have and also a real estate brokerage, because the area that I was practicing in is within the bigger realm of real estate. So that was my comfort zone.
So it was adjacent to the real estate market,
Correct,
right?
correct.
So, all right. So let's talk about, like, did you want to go into that because you wanted to do real estate closings? Did you go into that because you wanted to be a real estate broker?
Honest truth,
Yeah.
I went into it because I was really tired of being a lawyer. I
Yeah.
was exhausted. I
Yeah.
was done. I needed a break. And I was like, well, real estate is something that I know.
Yeah.
Let me just do this. Let's see how it goes.
And how's it going?
It's going pretty well.
Yeah.
Like between the two businesses, I'm doing real estate closings. On the law end, I'm doing listings and rentals on the real estate and the broker end, I should say. Also on the law practice, that gives me the ability to help homeowners who may be in foreclosure as well, because there's a lot of misinformation out there. And also, if you fall behind on your mortgage, you feel some kind of way. You feel a little bit guilty, you feel a little bit ashamed.
Yeah.
And that all kind of ties into the work at New Ground as well.
Yeah.
Just kind of, it's a lot of education, right? It's social work and education. Things, yes, you may have had a little bit of bad luck. Things do happen, but there's ways to learn from it and ways to just be able to build and emerge from it. And part of my practice is I take any consultation for anybody who may be facing foreclosure or in foreclosure, and I help get them the resources that they need and put them in hands with a lot of the partner attorneys and various other not-for-profit industries that I have affiliations with.
I want to ask you a question about that, like from the foreclosure and the education, and you say it's almost like there's like social work, and it sounds like there's like this overlap with the volunteerism you do over at New Ground, for example, and the work you do professionally. So talk about like education for me, if you could, about people so they know what they can qualify for from a lending perspective.
So if you fall behind in your mortgage, the last thing the bank actually wants to do is foreclose and take your home.
They don't want to be a landlord. They don't want to be a homeowner.
They don't want to be a landlord. They don't want it. They have a lot of programs that are available depending on the circumstance. Maybe it's a forbearance for a couple of months till you can get on your feet.
Right.
But the most important thing is to communicate with the bank.
Sure, let them know where you're
to call
at.
them and say, hi, I'm having a hard time. This is my situation. I know I'm behind. I don't want to be behind. What can we do?
That's great.
And a lot of times, that's all you need to do. And
because, like you said, they don't want to own your home.
They
just want you to pay them.
all they want to do is just collect their payments and move on with their day.
Yeah.
They don't want to go through foreclosure. It's a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work for everybody.
Yeah, no kidding.
So just making that simple phone call to your lender can eliminate a lot of times. People, they feel ashamed and they feel like they have to hide.
Well, because
and they ignore the notices.
Because I think we've created as a society a stigma around this type of stuff, where if you just could raise your hand and say, I need help, versus, oh my God, you defaulted on your mortgage, or you went 30 days late. Like that's, right. That's like a, the I don't know, what was that book? the scarlet letter, you know, like
yes.
you got, how many 30 days late do you have? You're never going to be able to refile. I have a background in that stuff. My brother is in the business. I was licensed for a while. So I know that, but like 30-day late was like this terrible thing, you know. I love that you're doing that. And it takes me to this other point, which is something that really stood out for me, and we talked about a little bit when you first got here, about the connection to the police department. I mean, you're the president of Deer Park Chamber,
yes.
right? Very well networked, I understand that. But how did you sort of collaborate with the police department, and what does that look like?
So, you're talking about the Civilian Police Academy, which,
yes, please
which I joined. So
yes, the Civilian Police Academy.
The Civilian Police Academy.
So like basically that movie, Police Academy.
Kind of.
Similar?
So before that, I'll explain how I even got there. So as you mentioned, I am the president of Deer Park Chamber of Commerce,
yes.
which makes me a community leader, something that I never expected to be, but like I said, the trajectory led me there. And in doing so, I had an opportunity to join what's called a precinct level advisory board by the Suffolk County Police Department.
Why was that even presented to you? What was, do you remember?
As a community leader, as someone who has their pulse on what's going on in the community. So essentially, the Suffolk County Police Department, they have lots of different ways that they connect with the community. Connecting with the community, knowing what's going on is very important so that they can do their job better, essentially. So they have ambassadors. That is a group of people who are really connected with the community and also within the higher levels of the police department, like within the commissioner's office, and they report back on things that may be trending in the communities. After that, there's something called the Precinct Level Advisory Board, which I sit on for the first precinct, which is the town of Babylon, which again, we have our pulse on what's going on in our communities, more so me and the Deer Park community and greater town of Babylon, and some of the needs, some of the issues, maybe some of the reoccurring issues. And we have an opportunity to go directly to our inspector and our community officers and our community liaison officers to kind of tell them what's going on and maybe where we need
some support, or some part of the community needs this level of support or something else.
Right. So through that, I found out that Suffolk County offers this really amazing program called the Civilian Police Academy. It's a 16-week course on generally Thursday evenings at the the Police Academy in Brentwood. And it's free, and I think you just have to be 18. And I really wanted to take the class to learn about the police department.
That's awesome.
I know about the police department from maybe what you see on TV, what you think, and I understand the legal perspective of it, but I didn't actually understand
what did you want to understand?
They do.
Yeah, like what was it that you felt like you didn't know that you wanted to know?
So if I'm to be a liaison between the community and the police department, I understand the community needs. But I don't understand maybe what the police department, where their mindset is, where they're coming from,
and the language
language they use. So I got to do some really fun things.
You could do like ride-alongs and stuff.
I got to do ride-alongs. I got to ride. We got to do an obstacle course on the with the emergency vehicles.
Wait,
we got to go to the
driving or
yes. Driving and passenger. And we got to go to the range. And we didn't get to shoot a lot of things. We did get to shoot some things.
Really?
But they showed us a lot of the stuff that they have.
But
and
that's great because
taught
it gives
us about gun safety
and
context. And I will have to say one of the most memorable moments for me, and probably one of the most emotional moments, was we had simulated handguns. And we weren't trained as well as maybe the officers in the academy. At this point, we were doing it as civilians, where they just gave us a handgun, and we were with a partner, and we walked into a call, and it was a simulator. And we had a handgun. Now, I think 95% of our class in the simulation didn't make it through because we were injured or fatally wounded through the simulator by the scenario that we were in. But it wasn't until that moment that I had some type of context for really what our police officers do. They respond to a call, and they don't know what they're walking into. They have no idea. They could be doing a traffic stop with me, and who knows what I have.
What you have or the passenger might have, right? So that gave that simulator, it feels real, where that gave you like oh, wow.
Right.
This is what somebody's walking into.
And then you have all of the criticism of, oh, I don't understand why they shot to kill. I don't understand why they couldn't shoot them in the foot. There's no time.
Right. It's interesting for an outsider to have all those answers, right? Where, hours later or days later of an incident that happens in seconds,
Correct.
Right? To say what, yeah.
Because I know it was only one instance that I was in that simulator, but in that simulator, like, I still remember seeing in the simulator the person holding that gun
at you, right.
And then you're just like, oh no, I'm not going home today.
Yeah, right. And if those, no matter how much training goes into for what a police or first experience is, it is still that scenario that happens, right?
Correct.
Where somebody might be pointing a lethal weapon at you.
Correct. So that, like I said, was one of, it's still, like, I can still see it
right.
sometimes.
It's real.
And it was very real. And going into some of these community meetings now, my mindset is different, where I may hear a problem that the police officers are having, but my perspective is different now as to how I may approach that problem.
Do you feel you can communicate the police officer's perspective better to the community?
I feel like I can communicate both ways.
Right.
That's awesome. I kind of have I'm not a police officer by any means,
right.
and 16 weeks in an academy does not make me one.
No.
But it at least gives me a little taste of, okay, now I kind of get what the mindset may be.
That's really special to do that.
Obviously, being in the community, I get what my perspective could be, and I try and put my shoes on the other side.
Yeah.
I truly believe that in order to, you can always speculate as to somebody's, but until you walk a mile in those shoes, you really don't understand. And it just helps for understanding in general. And also coming back to homelessness and foreclosure, we all face things in life. And I think I shared with you that my parents had a really bad car accident, and they were both in the blink of an eye at 25, incapacitated, in a hospital, and we were really close to catastrophe.
Yeah.
But we were very lucky that we had some amazing people on our side to guide us. So it can happen to anybody.
In a split second.
In a split second.
Yeah, yeah. My wife's away with the kids right now, but she called me the day they were driving, and she was on the BQE and got very close to a pretty serious accident, and she was very shaken up.
I can believe it.
For hours, into the next morning, and because she saw what could have happened at the speed her car and the other car were going would have been
catastrophic.
Yeah, catastrophic, devastating. Yeah.
Luckily, nothing happened.
And that's it. But that's our life. It's that
quick,
fragile and quick, and things can change. Yeah, I think that goes to a lot of what I talk about, though. Just there's this phrase I use, and I say it not every day, but it's everyone you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. Be kind.
Be kind.
Always, right? And that's it. And if we can, because we don't know what people are going through, and we don't know where we're meeting people at what point in their life, and what their struggles are and where they're at. So, listen, none of us can do that 100% of the time. But I mean, if you just think, since we're talking about being in a car, in an automobile, whatever, sometimes people cut you off and stuff. Now, sometimes we use bad judgment when those things happen, right? But if you go, well, maybe he or she's in a rush, and that's it, and move on with your day.
Move on.
Because if you escalate that can get super bad.
This is where it comes back to education and knowing things and understanding what your insurance policy actually covers and what it actually means, and how to make sure that you make good investments for yourself to protect yourself. And I know I'm bringing it back, but this is part of just advocating. I'm a small business owner. I'm sure that most small business owners don't have general liability insurance.
There's probably a lot. That's an educational perspective. Do you find that you end up educating other business owners about that?
We do, at the Deer Park Chamber, we do a lot of workshops and advocating, and we like to connect some of our newer small business owners with some of our more seasoned small business owners to sit there and actually have okay,
that's great.
I only have this much money.
Yeah.
Where do I spend it first?
Right.
What's important? Because we are working with a limited budget.
Sure.
And you can only do so many things. And I also do small business law. I help people form their LLCs, their PLLCs, their corps. And I do educate them them on more than just, okay, now you're formed, like, goodbye.
Right. No, what you
we
have
do
to be
have a
aware
whole
of.
conversation. And I'm also realistic to know that, like, okay, maybe you have the money to form now, but before you actually start doing something, you have to have your insurance in place.
Yeah. You know, especially, I mean, I grew up in payroll sales at ADP, and the big thing that, you know, we sold payroll services, and, you know, a thing I used to get a kick out of was, like, we talk about you have to pay taxes, and you have to do W-2s at the end of the year, and you have quarterly filings, and people go, no, Tommy, it's no big deal. My employees said they could be 1099s. And I go, no. Your employees don't get to make.
Employee and 1099 don't go together.
Your employees don't get to make that decision. You don't get to make that decision. There's a bunch of questions that show whether they're, and then when you're talking about payroll, now you're talking about workers' comp insurance and all these type of things that they can get very complicated, and if you screw it up, they can be very costly, and you know, and it's a problem. So.
And a lot of times, it's not a problem until it is a problem.
Yeah, well, then it's too late.
And when it's a problem, it's now too late, and it's too big.
And it's not like, oh well, I didn't know. People, you know, the Department of Labor doesn't. That's great that you didn't know. That's cool. Pay me. You know, maybe that's a little bit rough, but that's a lot of what it is.
Yes.
You know.
And in the long run, we pay for it. Like the people who are doing the right thing pay for the people who aren't doing the right thing.
Subsidizing it. Yeah.
Because you're subsidizing their costs. So I always tell the people that I work with, if you have to think about whether or not you're doing the right thing, you're not.
Right. I like
Don't
that.
do it.
I like that. So we're almost out of time. So I want you to just tell people, like, how, you know, who do you want to connect with? How can people connect with you? Things like that.
So I'd love to connect with any small business owners looking to form a business, anybody in the real estate industry looking to buy or sell, and anybody also with the Deer Park Chamber of Commerce who's looking to engage with small business owners, with business, with commerce in the Deer Park area. We would love to have you. We would love to meet you, love to network with you.
I love it. I think I should come to a meeting.
I think you should.
I will come, fine. Don't push me. I'm so glad we're finally, we've moved past our mistakes in the past, and now we are friends. We're hanging out.
Making those changes.
We're all about change making, man. That's what it's about. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
100%. We're going to do some cool stuff in 25 and into 26, because before you know it, it'll be 26. I didn't say that. Oh my God.
We don't want to talk about that.
Moves fast.
It's still summer.
It is still summer. It is. While we sit here now, it is like, and today's a nice day. It's been hot, but we both were able to wear jeans today because it's nice out. So it's nice and cool. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
100%. So cool. So cool. Thank you. I appreciate it. Gang, that's just another episode of Long Island Changemakers for you, where I bring my friends who are doing important work, cool work, special work here on Long Island. And, you know, I get to tell these stories, and I get to meet great people. So don't be jealous. Just pay attention and show up, and you can be part of it. I appreciate you all. Make it a great day. This is another In Focus production. I'll see you later. Bye.